Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Always exciting to be back.
Today we're tackling something that's been on a lot of people's minds, especially with, the way healthcare costs are going. We're driving into health savings accounts.
HSAs.
Yeah, HSA. They can
Yeah.
be a really powerful tool, but I feel like a lot of folks maybe don't quite grasp how they work or all the benefits they offer.
Absolutely. There are so many misconceptions floating around. People hear high deductible health plan and they kind of tune out.
Right, exactly. But there's so much more to it, especially, and we'll get into this, when you start thinking long-term, retirement, all of that.
It's a game changer for retirement planning, really.
Okay, so let's break it down, shall we? First things first, for anyone who's totally new to this, what exactly is an HSA?
Okay, so an HSA or health savings account, it's basically a special savings account specifically designed for healthcare expenses. But here's the catch. You can only contribute to one if you're enrolled in a high deductible health plan.
HDHP.
Yeah, HDHP. And I know that phrase can sound a little intimidating.
It does.
But stick with me here.
Okay.
So an HDHP, it means you're going to have a higher deductible to meet before your insurance really kicks in. So you're paying more out of pocket initially.
I see.
But the trade-off, the big advantage, is that you can contribute pre-tax dollars to this HSA. And that lowers your taxable income right off the bat.
Okay, so less taxes right away. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about here, numbers-wise? What does a high deductible actually look like in, say, 2024?
So for 2024, the minimum deductible for an individual is $1,600.
Okay.
And for families, it's $3,200.
All right, so those are the numbers folks need to keep in mind.
Exactly.
But you were talking about the pre-tax contributions, right?
Right. So that pre-tax thing, that's only part of the story.
Yeah.
HSAs, they're famous for what's called the triple tax advantage.
Triple tax advantage. Okay, break that down for me.
So number one, we already hit on it. The contributions you make, they're pre-tax, so lower taxable income right away.
Got it.
But number two, any earnings within the HSA, think interest, investment growth, all that, it's tax-free.
No way.
Yep. And then number three, when you withdraw that money for qualified medical expenses, guess what? Tax-free again.
Wow. Okay, so it's truly triple tax-free. You put money in, it grows tax-free, and you take it out tax-free.
Yeah.
That's incredible. When we think about retirement, everyone always talks about, like, saving enough, making sure your investments are doing well. But healthcare costs, that's a huge piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
They don't exactly go down when you retire.
No, they don't. They tend to go up, if anything. You're absolutely right. That's something so many people forget to factor in. Some studies have shown that a retired couple could easily need over $300,000 just to cover healthcare costs throughout retirement.
$300,000.
It's a scary number.
That is a scary number.
But that's where HSAs can really be a lifesaver. Think of it this way. The money you're putting in during your working years, it's growing tax-free. And you can use it specifically for those healthcare costs later on down the line. And this is a big one, the funds, they don't expire.
Oh, wow. So even if I don't use all the money while I'm working, it's still there waiting for me.
Exactly. It's like an extra layer of security, knowing that those funds are there specifically earmarked for your healthcare and retirement.
Wow, it's like a safety net specifically for those expenses.
Right. And, once you hit 65, things open up even more. You can actually use HSA funds for non-medical expenses without penalty.
Oh, really?
It basically starts to function a little more like a traditional IRA at that point.
So it's not just for medical expenses in retirement, it becomes more flexible.
Exactly. You have options.
Okay, this is all starting to sound really good. But you mentioned earlier, I think, that the money in an HSA can be invested.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of HSA providers, they offer investment options like you might see with a 401k or an IRA, mutual funds, ETFs, things like that.
So the money in the HSA has the potential to really grow.
And remember, all that growth, it's tax-free.
Oh, right, because it's still within the HSA. So not only are you putting aside money for healthcare, but you're also giving it a chance to grow and outpace inflation, which is especially important with healthcare costs rising the way they are.
That's the key. You're not just saving, you're building a strategy to combat those rising costs.
This is amazing. Okay, so much to unpack here. As we wrap up, what's the biggest takeaway for listeners?
If I had to boil it down, I'd say this. HSAs are not just a right now thing, they're a long-term play. They can be a cornerstone of your entire financial strategy, but they can be complicated for sure.
It can.
So if you're serious about exploring this, don't go it alone. Talk to an expert who can guide you through the process, answer your questions, and help you develop a personalized plan.
So true. And, speaking of experts, someone who comes to mind immediately is John White,
Oh, absolutely.
president of Financial Guideposts. I know he's helped countless individuals and families really maximize their HSA benefits.
John's the best. He really understands the stuff inside and out. He can break it down in a way that makes sense, help you figure out your goals, how HSAs fit in, the whole picture.
I think that's so important, finding someone who can really tailor the advice to your specific situation.
It's not one size fits all, that's for sure.
Well, this has been eye-opening, I gotta say. I hope everyone listening has a better understanding of HSAs now and, how they can play a role in their financial well-being both now and in the future.
Absolutely.
So before we go, I'll leave everyone with this thought. If you could lower your tax burden today and potentially set yourself up for tax-free growth to cover future healthcare costs, wouldn't you want to explore that option?
Definitely something worth considering.
Big thanks to you, as always.
Always a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. If you're interested in learning more about how HSAs can work for you, reach out to John White at Financial Guideposts. He's the expert you want in your corner. Until next time.
See them.